I enjoy cooking at home, and I haven't been to the cinema in so long. I no longer desire to go to concerts. You can go to church, so that's fine by me. Yeah, there's not much of my life that's been impacted. The only thing I guess really is travel.
Yeah.
And because that's so up in the air, and that's not just like based on New South Wales or Sydney, that's internationally. So I don't know. I think for some people it's like it's a pressure cooker. It's going to get worse and worse, and it's going to, there's going to be more and more pressure. But with more and more pressure, there's going to be more and more emotions and more and more. And then everything is just becoming reactive and reactive and reactive. And it's at some point there's going to have to be a resolution. And,
the rubber band's going to go the other way, right?
Yeah, and I'm just very conscious of the gap between the two sides that it's going to be very difficult to, like, everyone's going to have to live together. Like, it is what it is.
Like, but this isn't France. Australia is not France, and the two groups, boosted and unboosted, they're working together. Australia is falling for the governmental trick, and they're like, I'm allowed to do this, and you're that, and it's almost like there is a superiority complex, and the division that was implemented to divide the people is working.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like, I definitely, at the start of it, I definitely fell victim to it, and I had to take a very big piece of humble pie because I could see it was damaging so many relationships that I had, and it was not worth it. Like, we have a difference of opinion. I'm going to do me, and I'll do consequences. I accept that you're going to do the same, and I have to accept that that's what it is. But it really doesn't matter what side you're on. What they're trying to do is to create the two control groups, I think, because it's easier to divide and conquer, no matter what the agenda. And yeah, I just, I don't want to be a doomsayer and say everything's going to get 10 times worse. You need to start prepping. You need to start doing.
It might not.
Sustainable, because with that becomes a very self-righteous point of view and borderline egotistical. I'm just going to call it for what it is, and that's probably going to irritate a lot of people. But we need to ensure that we are doing it for the right reasons. We're sharing the information, we're educating people, we're sharing our opinions and our voices, not for a reaction, but to create an outcome. If we're not creating an outcome, we're just doing I'm doing this so I can, in 2 weeks' time, I can say I told you so. What's that going to do?
A lot of people are out there with that intention, and it's really frustrating. There are even people out there saying that if you get the boost, or whatever the word you want to call it, the juice or whatever, you're going straight to hell because that's the mark of the beast. It's like, shut up. Like, when you get the mark of the beast, it'll be obvious. Everyone will know it is that.
Yeah, and I think, but even that, like, for me, I have only just come back to God and faith, so
I didn't bring it up because you told me.
Oh, no, that's fine.
You're choosing to say that, yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I don't feel well enough equipped to have that discussion with you. I can obviously say the small amount that I know, but I'm not gonna, say you're wrong in what you're saying. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think that's, we've stopped having conversations. We've just started telling, and I think that's a societal thing as well, because we're so used to this instant gratification, and we're lazy. We don't want to cook, so we're going to get takeout. We don't want to do this job around the house, so we're going to get a handyman. Like, we're just so dependent on instantaneous.
We are.
like life, and it just we've now not got the tolerance to have a conversation, to see an alternative point of view, to acknowledge that even though somebody may, to you, be wrong in their opinion, we still have to acknowledge that they've not had an experience that shapes that view, to see it for what it is, or to see it in this light. So yeah, and I mean it's hard. Like even with like some of the stuff Diogo does, like I'm constantly like, why are you sharing this? Like, and he's like, oh, get off my back, like blah blah blah. If you want to moderate the page, go for it. And I'm like, okay, like it's yours, and I'm just trying to get you to question like, what is your intention behind this? What are you looking for? Are you looking for outcome or reaction? At least start there and be honest with yourself about it, you know? So yeah, it's just my 2 cents, I guess.
I love your attitude because it's something that I'm slowly realizing that I've adopted, because I am less and less pushy about it. I still have my moments where I'm like, oh, that person's a moron. How can they think this sort of thing? But again, it's like what we said earlier. They're on their own journey, and they'll figure it out.
This isn't to be a hippie and be like, oh yeah, everything's light and love, and we're all gonna get on. Everybody has to accept things for what they are and what they can control. Like, no matter what I say or do, I can never change your perception of me, because it's up to you to make that perception.
Yeah.
So
I do know what you mean.
I can, by all means, if I say something that influences that, amazing, but ultimately that's down to you, and vice versa. Like anything you say or do, it's up to me how I react to it.